out to the bar yesterday. I was at this brewery called Mother Stewart's. It's in Springfield, Ohio, and it's a cool place. You know, they got, you know, it's all their own beers there and everything, whatever, blah blah blah. It was cool. They had a live band playing there. Met up with that guy that I met that was on the Aprilia, and we were hanging out. It's a cool dude, and we were sitting outside though. They had like little fire pit things. Like it was just, you couldn't even hold a conversation inside because it was just so obnoxiously loud. And yeah, it was pretty fun. It was pretty cool. But on my way home, I freaking hit a deer. I was in the car. You know, luckily I wasn't on the bike. Of course, then again, I might have been able to actually stop the bike a little quicker, or at least be able to react to get out of the way because it's smaller. Right up this road here, like on this road, I freaking hit a deer. I'm going back to see if there's any pieces of the car. I mean, it didn't do like a ton of damage. Broke off a piece of the front bumper. It hit the you know, the passenger side corner. Broke the oh, what's it called? Oh yeah, the fog light. Broke the fog light, and a piece of the front bumper. Ripped the wires that connected the fog light. So, you know, insurance and all that, we're taking care of that. So it's like right up here around this corner. I just want to see if there's any pieces, because I think the deer continued to take off, but I think his hind legs are what hit. Yeah, it was like right here is where I hit. I don't see anything. Yeah, it was like right there. He jumped out of those trees over there. And yeah, I was a little upset about that, but you know, it is what it is. You know, stuff happens. Can't do anything about it. Just file the insurance claim and move on, get it taken care of, get it fixed, and a couple months from now I won't even be thinking about it. But yeah, freaking this deer just jumps out of the trees, kind of like runs across the road, and I hit the brakes. And then when he was like almost halfway in the middle of the road, he like kind of sort of turned and didn't like run directly into me, but ran more angled kind of towards me though. And then jumped off the other side of the road on my passenger side. And yeah, I think his hind legs are what hit. And actually, I didn't think there was going to be much damage or anything, because it hit and I heard it, but it didn't shake the car or anything like that. It wasn't a loud noise when it hit. Yeah, the car was fine, it just kept on driving. I was like, well, I'm not going to stop in the middle of the street, so I just kept going. Wasn't anything too crazy. Yeah, just annoying. Just so freaking frustrating. I mean, I know the season. 'Tis the season for, well, for animal accidents. So that was interesting, so we're getting that all taken care of. No, not a big deal, but yeah, that's my first time hitting like a deer or anything like that. That sucked. I've never had anything like that happen before. I did get in a wreck in my semi though. That really sucked. And because it was my fault. I don't want to talk about it, but I'll talk about it anyway. Yeah, I crashed my semi like last year. Nothing too terrible. I hit another car. I was making a right-hand lane change. She was in like this real small car, and she was in the front right corner under my hood mirror, so I couldn't see her in my hood mirror. And of course, she was in front of, you know, the door mirror, so I couldn't see her in those. And I was, you know, bobtail, had no trailer, and went ahead and made my right lane change. I was in the left lane passing somebody. I didn't see her come up, or maybe she merged over. I don't really know. And then yeah, I hit her. Yeah, these last like 12 months have like sucked for me. I'd never been in a car accident before. Had my CDO for some years. Been driving since I was 16. Never had an accident, never had a ticket, never had anything. And like all of a sudden, just like the last 12 months, had my truck accident, and then I crashed this bike, and then now I hit a deer. It's like, what is happening right now? I've never had any issues driving in the what, 16 years I've been driving. And then all of a sudden, 1 year, just everything hits the fan. But it is what it is. It's all over with in the past. Try to be more careful and learn from it. Got my poo-poo brown gloves. I got a fun story about when I lived in Nashville. Well, actually, I lived in Franklin, Williamson County, whatever it was, or Williams County, I forget. But me and some guys from work went downtown on Broadway? Yeah. Anyway, we went downtown because it was one of their friends' birthdays. I didn't know him, beforehand, but it was his birthday, so we were going out. Actually, it was funny because I was like the skinny guy, and they were all bodybuilders. Like, they were all huge dudes. And I think I was like 140 pounds at the time, and all these guys were like 200 plus pounds raw muscle. So I was like this little tiny dude hanging out with all the bodybuilders. I was like, oh well, I don't fit in here. But anyway, we're drinking, hitting up all the different bars and stuff, going through downtown. I think I was probably 24 at the time, or 25, something like that. I don't remember. And the guy who his birthday was, like, I just had money to blow at the time, so I was buying him drinks and shots and everything, because I was like, screw it, I didn't even drink that much. I barely drank at all. I think I had, like, in total, like, a shot and 2 beers, like, the whole night, because I knew I needed to drive home. And between the time I took my last drink and I drove my car home was, like, 2.5 to 3 hours. You know, so I was being relatively careful. And, but I bought this dude, I spent like probably $300, maybe $400. Not just for him, you know, I was buying, drinks for everybody, but the majority were going to him. It was his birthday. Screw it, why not? So we all are getting ready to leave, and he is pretty much unconscious drunk. We had to carry him out, so we carry him out to the truck, which they park in a parking garage. I parked somewhere else where it was cheaper to park. And so they park in the parking garage, so we carry him up there. And it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, something like that. So there's a bunch of people who are leaving, trying to get out of there. So the parking garage was like really packed with traffic. And so he's on the ground. Because he's so freaking heavy, we're having a hard time picking him up. On top of that, everyone is so drunk. So I'm basically the only one who's like relatively sober. And I was not strong enough to pick this freaking dude up that weighed like 220 pounds. And all the other guys who were bodybuilders were also hammered, but conscious. So they were having a hard time because they couldn't keep the freaking balance. So he's laying on the ground in the parking garage. And this random girl comes over and she's like, hey, I have to pee really, really bad. Can I go behind your truck and pee? And we're like, yeah, sure, whatever. So she goes behind the truck, squats down, does her business, and her business began to run down the concrete because it was on a slope, and right into this dude's head, who is passed out on the ground. He got peed on. Not intentionally. And actually the girl was really embarrassed and she kept saying, I'm so sorry. And she's saying this like while she's peeing because she realizes what's happening. And actually she realizes what's happening because we're yelling about it, hysterically laughing. And rather than picking him up, we were just recording it because we're good friends. And so we're recording this and we're like, ah, he's getting peed on, ah! All that fun stuff. And so she understands what's happening, and like while she's peeing, she's like, I'm so sorry, I'm not trying, I didn't mean to. And we couldn't get a word out because we're in tears laughing over this. Maybe this is one of those stories where you had to be there, but it was freaking great. I thought it was a great story. I thought it was a fun time. We told him about it the next day. We put him in the back of the truck, laying down, and no one wanted to sit with him, and they all rolled kind of deep in this truck. So They're the two guys who got Ubers or taxis, whatever they got back then. This was like 2015, something like that. They got that to go to, one guy went to a hotel, one guy went back to his house. Just because they didn't want to sit with the guy who was covered in pee. But yeah, that's my fun Nashville story that I had. I didn't do a whole lot in Nashville except for mainly work. I only had like 1 or 2 good weekends out there. But I just thought I'd tell a fun little story. Anyway, that's pretty much all I got. So, you know, feel free to subscribe and stuff. And if not, that's fine too. Hope you enjoyed. Okay, love you, bye.